Today, I have the pleasure of basically congratulating you yet again, Francis, for another star player on your team, Farah Khan.
Yes, yes.
Congratulations.
No, well, thank you very much, and good to see you again, Tracy. So yes, in the past, I would say 10 days, we would just establish, as you know, the U.S. subsidiary in the U.S. Why in Irvine, in California? Because it's one of the major top innovation and cybersecurity hub right now in the U.S. And that will allow us actually to scale commercialization operations, secure access to larger capital markets, like obviously that what the U.S. does and still will continue to do in the future in one way or another. So, and you're right, what we've done after announcing that John Young is one of the next top executive at IBM and probably one of the more globally recognized cybersecurity expert in the world, join our team, and he will be the COO, actually operating our office in Irvine. And we had Farah Khan, and this is what announced we did this morning, that was the former mayor Irvine. And she comes with an incredible Rolodex and a lot of experience also in attracting tech investment in Southern California, or as you probably have heard about it, that Irvine in Southern California is considered today the second Silicon Valley.
Well, I have to tell you, I was going to ask you about how did you get the mayor of Irvine to join your team, but undoubtedly it's the technology speaking for itself. Would you like to tell us how you talked her into joining your team?
I mean, it's first of all, she was introduced to me by John Young, so obviously we got acquainted very, very easily, through John, and but also she has a very strong interest in technology. It just even happened that her and I had a sort of a common experience, work experience, because she was one of the VPs in one of the major pharmaceutical companies, in the world. I think she works VP of regulatory affairs for Novartis. So this is an area where immediately we connected because of our shared experience in the past. So, and I think she loved the technology. I mean, she's a scientist originally, and obviously everybody today, I think, seems to be intrigued by the world quantum and I think the promises of quantum technologies. And obviously the threat of, in some areas like security that can quantum technologies represent for everybody, or the business or even individuals. So I think that she's almost a perfect candidate. I mean, a first associate to us, is actually really something that we're very proud, and because she has a lot of opportunities, you can imagine, and that she chose to work with us. I think it's a testament to what we're doing, in fact, and the value that we can create, for, I think, in the space of cybersecurity.
And of course, you've just, for those shareholders out there that may not be familiar with this, you've just opened up an American division, correct?
Yes, exactly. That we open, what we're calling, Quantum eMotion America. So, and we open it in Irvine, and it's probably the best possible place to be right now, when there is an incredible, I would say, collection of high-tech technologies there, and even the presence of the major companies too. So you have everything there. And as you know, what we do well is actually being able to secure high-value assets. And obviously when you work in high tech, almost everything is high value. So this is a perfect environment for us, and to accelerate our US market penetration. It's the ideal place.
And of course, the growth for the company is not just happening with the team and the new division. The last time we spoke, you were talking about the evolution of the actual technology. Would you like to give our audience a bit of an update on that, please?
Sure. Right now we have actually the product that it's ready actually for commercialization. It's our platform, what we call SentryQ, that allows actually to secure communications from point to point in exchange complex data from point to point with actually two level of security, even the classical encryption that we can reinforce, but also prepare the companies actually to already have a way to resist to quantum attacks in the future. So it's what we call it's a hybrid, platform, a defense platform that allows actually to improve already your defenses today and future threats representing by quantum computers. So it's almost like a sort of an ideal, I would say, platform of security. So that's what we encourage people to adopt that as soon as they can, because you never know when actually we will have actually the first real attacks for quantum computers, and they could be so devastating that I don't think it's worth actually, having the risk, to do nothing, for example. So yes, so I think it's again, it's ideal situation, ideal ecosystem for our technologies, and as you know, the US will still be, and they are today, and they will still remain in the future, probably the biggest, the greatest market in the world for high technology company.
When we were speaking last time, you were talking about the size of the technology, though, going from the current size, which is about the size of a
Yes.
hand, right?
So we not only develop platforms, but we also, our technology allows us, in fact, it's a device, the original, I would say, that assets that, that help the company to, in fact, to progress, from was actually an invention that was done at University of Sherbrooke, what's called a quantum random number generator. And today, it's something, the quantum random generator is as big as a thick credit card, but we are in the process that it's advancing very well to miniaturize that, to the level of a fraction of a nail, for example, and that would allow when we able to do, did finish the development of that, and it's coming soon, we'll be able to actually have our technology almost embedded in anything connected to the internet, in all kinds of different, I would say, form, structures, architectures.
Now, you've had a formidable history with working with health providers
Yes.
And their cybersecurity. Will Farrakhan and John Young be moving you into some different industry sectors? Because obviously, I've read Mr. Young's bio, for instance. It's phenomenal. Can you talk to us a little bit more about what sectors they're planning on prioritizing?
I think, for example, I'm expecting, there's no limit, in fact, to the sectors in itself, because at the end of the day, what technology does is, I would say, it doesn't really matter if you're basically transferring data from healthcare or military or anything, because data is data, okay? So it doesn't really matter. However, I think the needs of the industry, I would say, or the awareness of the industry change from one to another. I can see Farah actually, definitely creating a lot of opportunities in the space of healthcare. Because she comes from there, and there is a huge need in healthcare to have a better security. It's number one or number two, actually, asset that is the most hacked is patient data, health data, and also transmitting that data from one place, one point to another, in a very secure way becomes actually, I think in the future will be something that would become, a sine qua non condition, for security of the data. And also, I think that will be imposed by the government and the regulations. That security is actually it's not a choice, it's becoming an obligation.
Well, I'll tell you, the company has moved so quickly. That interview we did less than 10 days ago, you deemed dated. So
Yes.
so I'm not going to ask you what we should look forward to in the next quarter. How about in the next month? What do you expect to be to moving forward with at that time?
Look, there is almost every day there is news, new events, new opportunities representing to us. But I have to say that we are reached a point where the company needs to focus a lot in the commercialization part. This is what we raised we were successful in raising, as 10 million, in a funding last round, about now 6 weeks ago. And now we're actually moving very fast to show actually the world that our technology has a lot of opportunities, I think, in the commercialization space, and pushing the adoption of our technology, because the awareness right now in I would say in the business world has changed from last 6 months. There's an awareness, and I think sort of an urgency to be prepared for what's coming, in terms of potential attacks, from all kinds of. Hackers are right now so sophisticated that you can't just stay and rely on previous technologies, old technologies. I think that would be a too big risk. And I remind every time I had the opportunity to talk, and about our technology, that the today the industry of cybersecurity represent something like $250 billion. It's a big number. However, on the other side, if cyber criminality would be an industry, and you can see it this way, we're talking about an industry today of $2 or $3 trillion. So you can see that somehow there's, even with our best technologies today, we're not really doing a great job in securing actually the most valuable assets that we have.
Well, that's absolutely brilliant. And Francis, congratulations to you and the team at Quantum eMotion for the latest growth, the latest announcements with the growth of your team. As always, it's
Thank
a
you.
pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Bye.